Alright. Now, good news, chat. We have chat. Turns out, at least as far as YouTube is concerned, that I had checked on that my streams were suitable for kids. And that it's all good and dandy, but by doing that, you kind of disabled the chat by default. And I go like, oh yeah, that makes sense. We don't want bad people. Free range. Oh. That makes perfect sense. And we also managed to get the two other guys in here to join in. Kick and Twitch. Apparently there's a big no-no to multi-stream or like demonstrate that you're multi-streaming by like showing the logos of the other streaming platforms, and that might get me into trouble, get bunked at a later time, but for now, me, super tiny, sitting here talking to myself, I don't think that is going to be much of an issue. Oh dang, like they go all the way out. Practically all the way out here. Neat. But of course, how much of her face is then in the frame? Not much. But I do like, because today's subject is peers, if I remember correctly. From inkwood.com, let's see. InkTober 2025. I think it is. Let me just hang on, hold on. Basic guidelines. No, it's deer. Oh dear. Hang on, I can fix that. One moment, chat. No reason to panic. We'll close this one. So it goes, but it was, okay. The order in which the images from, I had a collection, but they are not in correct order. Alright, there we go. Would you look at that? Look at this handsome fella, chat. He is one fine gentleman. Should be fairly. Drop the saturation. I'll pass it to gentleman's 69. I'm still coughing. But then again, I forgot to wash the curtains. I did a lot of other laundry today, but I didn't do the curtains. Okay, so we're just gonna go down here, and it's the head about here, and then we're gonna go up. Just big blobs. Yeah. We're just gonna have to sculpt this. And like where 2000 mark. All right, something like that. And goes down. Kind of like that, and then goes in. Big shapes, people, big shapes. We start big. It actually needs to be much higher. Really? I'm not sure what we're gonna do with the background, but it's kind of silly, like. Holy smokes. What can a poor artist do beyond laugh at the immediate crude stages? So funny. Okay, it needs to be even deeper in. Yeah, his face kind of goes into. Argoloid. What do you mean, bot? No thank you. I've seen Terminator. I'm familiar with the Terminator franchise. I don't need it. I'm just goofing around as a hobbyist. I'm not interested in in AI stuff. Thanks for stopping by, though. So, gosh darn it, it looks so bad. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's. I'll not get distracted by. And I mean, he does have that whole horizon bush thing going on. Okay, so we can do here. We just block this in. Like, I know that sounds crazy, chat, but that's kind of what I'm seeing. Just a big chunk of blockiness. Yeah, center. Come on. Trying to get that to be the center. Yeah. I realized my mistake. I forgot to copy over the... But can I salvage that? If I copy... be right back. And paste. There we go. I'd like to... Yeah. Be right back. Right. So now we can go back to talking to ourselves. Right. Okay. So, what does that entail, actually? I think we're gonna go back to, I don't know, 100? 100. And like it's a triangular thing going on. Something like that. Yeah. A little bit higher. Just a little bit higher. I keep coming back to like those Star Wars references. Star Wars is everywhere apparently. Or it's just living rent free in my head. That could also be. And now it's too high up. Of course it is. Something like that. We're gonna call that a day. Yes, we are. And I mean, this whole inside thing is kind of clean and smooth and elegant, and I'm kind of like, but is that the right? Oh, damn. Thanks, son. Kinda is. It just needs to be a little bit... Dang. And it's, you know, kinda thin. So we can start trimming this down. We're getting somewhere, chat. We're getting somewhere. Don't worry. We'll get there. Question is, how far can we get in an hour? Oh, interesting stuff, isn't it? And I'm seeing something like that. Oh, a bit lower. I think this would have been a lot easier if I had like temp layers, but I don't have that. Or I don't work with that for some stupid reason, because I'm an idiot. I mean, that's gotta be the explanation. Making things unnecessarily hard for myself. So I watched a video, YouTube video. YouTube is my poison of choice. Of Mark, what is it? Mark Brunet. Really outstanding guy. Has a lot of like art tips and things. And you go like, oh yeah, this is how long, or how fast, or how long, or however you want to put it, it will take you to get like skill level. And it was like, oh yeah, it was 3 years. I'm like, dude, I'm on my 8th year. Like, I'm almost a decade in, and I'm nowhere near that. But it's also possible that, you know, I'm just not particularly, or haven't been. Like, that has always been a contested point of mine. I go like, how do you practice. Or good practice, I suppose. Finding a practice mythology that made sense to me, question mark, if that makes sense, has been a challenge for the longest frickin' time. So again, it's not that. So it's never really been an issue of like practicing. Like, oh, I don't have the time, I don't have the money or the resources. It's like, all things considered, like I don't like. It's just me, no dog, no cat. So it's ideal, right? You can just sink in and I go like, oh yeah, well if you just, and he was talking like, oh, just an hour a day, 5-6 a day, like 5-6 hours a week, which is about, you know, almost on a which is kind of the schedule that I had last year. I tried to go for like 5 days a week. I couldn't always keep that schedule up, but it was a big thing of it was go like I needed to figure out how to, you know, finding a training regimen or a way of studying that like resonated with me, that made sense to me and my brain. You don't have that, chat, and you're kind of like, you are improving, you are progressing, but it feels like you're running waist deep in water. And that's not good. Just not good. But it's something that's bothered me for like years, because again, it's not necessarily the first time I've heard it, because I definitely seen it on like Reddit and go like, oh yeah, I was like working my day job and dead-end job and everything was miserable, but now like then I found drawing and I picked it up, and now 2 years later I am drowning in commissions and I make these stunning charcoal illustrations of like very meticulously rendered illustrations of people's excuse me, pets. I'm like, dang, and you did that in just 2 years? I went like, yeah, I went from stick figures to, and I go like, how do you do that? Like, what are you doing that I'm not doing? And again, it comes to, I thought it was like feedback, because that was always something that go like deliberate practice, and go like, what does that mean, really? What does that even entail, deliberate practice? And kind of tough to define. Or like, oh yeah, you gotta have a plan and know things. Probably have like a bump here, and then like that to better demonstrate. And of course, excuse me. Yeah, I seriously need to. That's the last thing that I can think of, though. That it's got to be the curtains. There's some dust that hangs in them. But anyway. Yeah, like it's just a deer. Let's see. Ah. And it needs to go something like that. Ooh, that's kind of right on the money. Or close to it. I think I'm done with like the medium shapes, roughly speaking. Ah, god dang it. I'm kind of like, if I really squint at what you're supposed to do here, like that top part of the deer is of such a bright value, but then it kind of disappears, and you kind of lose it. Yeah, that you just have shadow underneath here. Like this part would be in shadow, and obviously his, I have no idea what you call this. His mane? Do deers have manes, chat? I have no idea. It reminds me of like a Diet Coke version of a lion's mane. Yeah, because if you do that, chat, then he would get like this. All right, we can try it. We can try it. Let's try it. No harm in trying, chat. This digital painting after all. So let's go. If we hate it, we can just paint it back in. And how does that look? Right, okay, so that is arguably better. Low-key better shape language. That is interesting. I added a little swishy thing here. Okay, interesting. We're learning, chat. We're learning. Interesting. Okay. But is there something that we can do to get the head? The face of the deer, the head of the deer, just pop out a little bit more with just two values. Like, it has a bright spot. That is, he has a couple of bright spots that is like flanking his nose. And then, of course, he has this whole, I'm not even sure, like, is that his chin or is it his lower lip? I don't know. I don't know enough about deer anatomy to say the proper terminology, but hey, whatever, man. Do it. We are probably shouldn't be in here at, like, what are we? 200% zoom? Nope, we need to get out. But if we're looking at it and go like, yeah, look, he has some white stuff. And also, okay, that is like fine detail, but I think that we can do it, chat. If we stay zoomed, okay, we can be at like this level here, 40 something zoom. Okay. Let's see if we can do this. So it's basically triangular shape. This little, it starts up wide and then tapers down. So can we, if we just make a, and then we cut into it, and then we cut into it again, something like that. Ooh, it's almost in the right spot too, like it needs to be. something like that. I wonder if... Yeah, that might screw things over because... Yeah, I might end up dragging that. It's really frustrating. I get that you can drag away the grind lines, but it would be really nice to just have one. But because that's the disadvantage of keeping dragging the kind of, this one needs to be lower as well, because you need to get the the halfway point is here. Or at the very least, as long as I'm consistent with that, right, then it needs to be, it needs to go further out here, right? As long as I need to have like an anchor point a little bit in, further in, that's fine. Righty. But anyway, see if we can get this sucker in the right, because where is it? Also the ear. I suppose the innards of the ear. We want to tap into our inner furry. Also needs to be like really. Is that? I keep bouncing around, but it's not. That's not necessarily a bad thing, chat. Oh. Okay, let's clean this up and make this whole thing significantly slimmer. Because god dang. Yeah, that's about the right thickness. And this one is a bit difficult because like it is thin, but because it's like overlapping forms, it's kind of like still needs to be thinner. Slim it down, gentlemen. Slim it down. And you don't get to see all of that stuff. I suppose we can also do stuff like that to better show that it is. Except that it's actually good. Actually, it doesn't swing that dramatically, but something like that. If you want to go in with all the smaller. No, why not? Oh, that might have been a bit too dramatic. just be better if I just kind of just manually. Oh. Not bad. And then just add something. Again, not necessarily super concerned with try not to be super concerned with accuracy, but here I am, concerned about accuracy. But this sucker goes all the way up. But anyway, back to the ear. It goes out and diagonal and then wraps back up. That's kind of right on the money, actually. It might need a little bit more. No, this is right, and now since we have that little let's get some funky. Somewhere in this, I think it's somewhere in this range. All right, right on the fringes there. Cool. That means we can do this. Something like that. All right. And on the opposite side, we have this, I think. Should be right about a little bit further out. Yeah, would you look at that? I can work with that. Oh yeah, that's very good. That's very good. Okay, now for the shapes of the snout. I think I'll just do. And it's not that far off. They need to be further down and actually thicker. Oh. I might just draw them in like that. Oh, they kind of low. They kind of low-key fit. Okay, the only thing is that they need. And then you have the jaw, like so. I gave him a wider and thinner jaw, but let's give him a... But okay, it's taking shape, chat. It's taking shape. And that's what's important. But also, like, hang on, let me see there. Zoom in. Yeah. Okay. And how would those... Like, okay, there's an angle here, which is fine, fair enough. Which means you just kind of go like that. Like, is that it? It's really that simple? I don't know. Looks like a little bit over-rendered, but Okay, well, we can leave it at that for now. The question is, what do we do with the antlers? I mean, the antlers could probably use some refinement, I would assume. But then again, it depends entirely on... okay, well, this gentleman here is way too chunky. And there's actually a small little... right, and technically speaking, I suppose these are bushes, so they need to have some bushy texture to them. There we go. There we go. Lots of bushy texture. Of course, chat. We have forgotten the background bushes. That will help, because that will help with the composition. Ooh. And that kind of just goes down and arcs by ear like that. Oh my goodness, it does. Oh my goodness. Goodness gracious me, chat. That is another Star Wars reference. And yeah, we can just bring this a little bit higher up. Just a little bit. What is it with me and the Star Wars reference? I'm gonna get a copyright strike, like holy crap. All the Star Wars references. But, okay, whatever. Yeah. I mean, it kind of goes like just straight diagonally. It doesn't like swing out the way that I have. Or does it? And I wonder, can we like... Hang on, if I erase up a bump there and then do something like this. Ooh, look at that. Would you look at that, chat? Just insinuate form, twisting and coiling of form. That might have been a bit too much. Okay, then the big question is, what do we do with the legs? What do we do with the legs, chat? Because they kind of disappear into the meadow? Does that qualify as a meadow? Because, like, I mean, that is a big, grown, handsome man, and he's standing tall and proud in the grass, so what the heck? Kind of tempted to separate one of those bushes as well, because now it's just so much of a black blob that, I mean, simplifying values and all that, but I think that's, isn't that where the... I love it, chat. I love it. Oh. But if we just do this, just to better separate, show that there's a separation. I think this is one of those things that got like you have so little to work with that you kind of just gotta learn to. I mean, technically, I suppose. I mean, that is some. It's like this V shape, like. Excuse me. Say hydration check. Wait, what? It's been 50 minutes already? What the heck? Alright. Let's just go for this V shape though. It looks so like these blobs look so wrong, but you know they are in roughly speaking in the right place and at the you know from a distance, you know it reads as a deer or a buck, I suppose, but I suppose we could try and make some big, medium shapes just to have some variety in it. Okay, so then the big question is, what do we do with the legs? Because the legs kind of disappear. And I'm not sure how to deal with that. And we could just do something like this. And then just do something like this and just do something like that if you really want to keep it simple, stupid, because yeah, and they kind of, the problem is that they kind of also dig into you could also just again go to town with a very small brush of like 1/10 of what I had now and just do the same thing, because yeah, I mean it's yeah. Legs kind of just also kind of just completely disappears around that mark right there. Ah. Kind of go crazy with this and just try to make it fade. Try to build like a manual gradient of it. I mean, kind of makes sense. In a weird, wacky way. Yeah, dropped so many frames today, chat. That's good. 0.2%. Speaking of dropped frames, I've been considering punching a hole through my wall because I have no LAN connection in where I have my computer. Crazy. Been living on Wi-Fi for 15 years. But, or I've also like, that's not entirely true. I also like done one of those where you can use the power socket to transfer broadband that way. But it's not ideal. Like you can send electrical, Ethernet. But on the opposite. Speaking of drop frames now, the rain now everything drops. No. Yeah. You turn your back on it and then it go like that. But the point is, that's kind of what I've been thinking about. Is that I would like to make because it's just an internal wall, and if I punch a hole and pull a LAN cable. Punch a hole through it and pull a LAN cable through it, I can then connect it to a switch, which sort of ties to my PlayStation, and for some reason my TV has LAN connection, and I don't think I've ever used it. I just hooked it up just because I could. So my Raspberry Pi also has a LAN connection. That one needs a LAN connection. Or doesn't need it, technically speaking, could go under Wi-Fi, but I like to have it on LAN. And that might get things to be a bit more stable. Problem is, I have no idea how, I mean, punch a hole through a wall, but like a whole hole? Like one thing is like punch a hole, but like it needs now to go straight through. I might have to go and ask my dad. I don't like doing that because my dad is old. He's tired. But what can you do, chat? What can you do? Anyway, it's, again, not the greatest in the history of ever. And I mean, I do see this line here. Okay, let's see if we can make that happen before we sort of call it quits, right? Let's see if we can just sculpt in something like that. Yeah, and that shape just needs to be more rounded out, I think. There we go. Yeah. Something like that. There we go. Righto. Okay. Let's do that. I need to export this PNG. Okay to that. We'll save it. And yeah. yeah, I think that's about it. So, tomorrow, which is a very famous Hololive English meme, tomorrow we are doing the pierce. That's when we're going to do the earring. Right. And then reckless. Then I picked a little dude riding a motorcycle. Starfish. No, Pierce and Starfish. And then reckless. And heavy. Which is basically just a dumbbell. But it's a quote-unquote interestingly lit dumbbell. Then we have sweep, which is just somebody dusting. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. What the heck is that one? It's not shredded. Oh, it's drink, like duh, obvious. But it could be interesting. Jet black background. Yeah, interesting. Trunk. Drink. Trunk. Right. Ragged. Is that the blonde? Has to be. Deal Arctic Rivals. There's gonna be a lot of two chess players. One is just a chessboard and the other one is just... But anyway, we'll cross that bridge when we get there, chat. So, I think we now have a solution, chat. I think we do. Might take some time to get the have a little bit of a checklist prep for stream, but now we have it. Solid setup. All right. Which means that we are now able to... That needs to be on top of that. There we go. Alright, well, I think that was it for me, chat. So, see you tomorrow.